this is... Okay, that does work. So, this is a project I've been working on for 3 years. We'll get to these. I guess this is really where it started. Kinda. Actually, this is the oldest one of these designs, but... So, this is the rapid assembly system, which spawned from a joke about, at the time it was the latest burst phase, which would have been I think this was early DB when this joke was made, but it was about them not bursting. It was literally where the name of the system came from. So, some jokes with Beyblade Rapid Assembly System, and it's like, hey, this gives me an idea. But then I speed ran making the system in like 6 hours. Well, first version, then it developed, of course, as a, and that was actually almost exactly 3 years ago. Like 1 month short of 3 years ago. Like on the dot. So, I am using a DB launcher because what will be the actual launcher needs some things tuned. It needs to be adjusted. Or lubricated. Maybe both. So, for now we're going to not bother with that one. Stadium setup is a Summit in the box it was delivered in. And that, I think, is going to be the recommended stadium setup for this. Now, I don't call these Beyblades on purpose. I may end up calling them Beyblades or Bays, but it is by accident. I do not intend for these to be, Beyblades. One, because I want... Yes, they are battling tops, but, there are battling tops other than Beyblades. Anyway. And I intend to make this a product line when it's all good to go, which is what we'll be finding out with these. And maybe we'll bring in a, we might, or I might, bring in, Cerberus. This is 3 different configurations of the same parts. Well, kinda. But those do not have metal parts, so I'll only be able to use one at a time. So they're all there. So, set these aside for now. Get to them later. So I'm still working out the battle rules for this, or these. It's so far we're at, typical battling top rules. You get a point if yours is spinning still, or if the opponent is no longer in the stadium. Or I guess, if it's the opposing top is no longer in play, we'll say that. And, yeah, these are references to existing Beyblades, so in case you couldn't guess. Yeah. So, this is what I call the prototype series. This is kind of prototype series, kind of not. Because it doesn't have the prototype as part of its name like the rest of these, but it is the same format. So yeah, prototype prototype dragon, prototype turtle, prototype phoenix, prototype tiger, and prototype scorpion, and then falls. You'll never. Then we got Valkyrie. Wow, I wonder what these are all based on. Anyway, so I'll be messing with these a bit. Oh, my stadium has a big old crack right there. Okay. Well, fortunately I have tape on hand. I just gotta grab it from halfway across my room. There we go. See, I was kinda joking, kinda not joking about that being halfway across my room. Basically, the other side of the space I can walk around in. Sometimes. There's a lot of stuff in here. So, let's get into this. Let me put this stuff down, tape over this, because I didn't realize that was there. Right. Let's... I wonder who the one viewer is. It's almost like I have my own stream open, so I can keep track of it. So... Okay. So, let's tape up this wall in the stadium. This thing gets abused. Probably gonna have some new cracks in this stadium too. I see. Just got DM'd on Discord about what incredible timing. Coincidentally, that is about the custom Beyblade system. I guess while I'm not doing test battles, I continue about the history of this system. So like I said, it spawned from a joke about burst phase. And originally I was going to call it a Beyblade system. And I was like, nah, I'm actually not going to do that. So it was just RAS system, or the rapid assembly system. basically, I have had a bunch of... it's been on the back burner for most of those 3 years. Well, almost 3 years. It's been other things going on. And now that some of those things are not going on, I have a little more time. So, I do intend for there to be a story project related to this. I have yet to actually work on it. I have some characters named. In fact, I still need to make some of this stuff. But I think it'll be an interesting take on the battle top shonen kind of thing. Or I guess battling top series idea rather than necessarily shown. But it's not that I dislike Beyblade. I love Beyblade. Stay on top. So, I still make Beyblade stuff, of course. In fact, the launcher I showed, the 3D printed one, that is literally just a retool of a launcher I made for Metal Fight Beyblade. Like, it is almost exactly the same or most of it is just the same pieces I used for the Metal Fight version of that launcher. So it basically just has a couple parts swapped out. And that being like the little prongs and then the part that, keeps them kind of coupled to the axle they're on. Those are really the only unique parts to this version of the launcher. Everything else is literally just from the Metal Fight version of the launcher, although I did make some edits that I then put back to the some changes I made for ease of assembly and such that I made when making this version of the launcher, or when doing this version of the RAS version of the launcher. I am so great at using words. Wow. That should be okay. So there are some changes I made here that I then ported to the Metal Fight version, but whatever. So, originally, this system was going to reuse some burst parts to make it a little easier to get into. So that's what I wanted, and then at first it's like, oh, I want people to be able to get into this pretty easily. So I was like, oh, just reuse burst drivers for now. Basically, that didn't work out, so because of locking mechanisms, and because the burst locking mechanism is actually kinda not good. Especially when you want to be able to turn something in either direction and get the same result. Burst drivers do not do very well. End up having direction-specific parts to make it work in the first place. So, eventually I've redesigned the entire system to not use burst drivers. so that they would stay together. Wow, there's a lot of So now we have the current system, which I'm going to show. These consist of 3 or 4 parts usually. Cerberus is an exception at the moment. Yeah, if I can get this apart. Why don't you want to come apart now? Why do you want to be... There we go. So we got our pin. We got our gear. For anything not prototype series style, you also have a weight. This is just an FDM printed version of Hexa, which can be found on Spark Night, which we have the little animation of in the corner of the stream. That is actually a 24 frame video. Well, that one's a GIF, but it is of an MP4. It is only 24 frames, so that it loops clean, really nice. You can also find this on the channel. It is 1 second long, so and then we have the tip, which has this kind of this odd shape that is a little more irregular than usual because I have to manually clean off like the brims and stuff, so it ends up and like trim it so that it fits. So it's not consistent yet. But so we have these little tabs up top. Those engage with these little tabs in the gear. And then we have this kind of plus-shaped connection, which fits together with this plus-shaped hole here in the weight, just like that. And that is a very snug fit. Wow. I say very snug, but it's not that snug, I guess. So, prototype series stuff just has this kind of opening under here to fit that, since they don't use weights. So what you do is you fit these together, fit the gear and the tip together. If the top you're using has a weight, such as Spark Knight here, you put that on the tip and then put that into the gear. And then you rotate the tip and if applicable, and then you put the pin in the top. And that keeps it together. I have not had this connection break yet. And I feel like if it's going to break, we'll see that today. So, let's go over, I guess, I already told you what these are called. You can probably imagine what they're based on. We got Prototype Dragon, Prototype Phoenix, Prototype Tiger, Prototype Turtle, and Prototype Scorpion. Prototype Scorpion is really interesting of these because this one actually does have like a pseudo weight. Got this like weight part here. It has a different connection than actual weights. And that is because I wanted to keep the gimmick from what this is based on. So this is based on Tripio. I wanted to keep Tripio's like play feature gimmick, so I made a removable weight disc, or like imitation weight disc. And I mean, it does work, not great, but it can do that. And we got then the tip is Spike. I did round off that point a little bit, just so it isn't actually sharp. It is still a lot sharper than everything else in the system so far, but, I mean, yeah, it still has tripio things going on. Valkyrie, this is, you know, based on Victory Valkyrie, as I'm sure you could tell from the design. I think it should be angled like that. So, yeah. It just uses flat, which Prototype Dragon also uses. This is based on Dragoon, of course. Kinda got a mix of Dragoons in this design. We got Prototype Turtle, based on Drasil. It has Ball. Also, all of these tips have a different texture on here to indicate what they are. Prototype Phoenix with semi-flat, which is flat with a tapered end, or I guess a chamfered end, you can see there. And then, yes, kind of this sort of slot cut out there. And these holes are in reference to original, like the original Beyblades. Like before we had distinct spin gears and such. So, Prototype Tiger uses a tip called Cone, which is supposed to be akin to Metal Change Base in concept, or in performance. Whether it's accurate is, I guess, it's not necessarily accurate, but it's what it's supposed to be. We got, so yeah, this is a lot of Drager S inspiration in this design. And I think that's all the Prototype series. Just like launch a couple, I guess. These have no metal in them whatsoever. So they're going to be a lot lighter, a bit faster. It's going to end more quickly. System rule, okay. Battle rules, usual. Point for knocking the opponent out of play. Point for making them stop first. But you also get a point for causing the pin of your opponent's top to come off. That does not end the round, but you get an extra point for it. So, if, say, we had, you know, someone with Prototype Dragon and Prototype Turtle battling, and the pin from Prototype Dragon got ejected during battle, but they were still, you know, spinning in that, it would still continue until you get the knockout or out or sleep out or whatever. But whoever knocked the pin off the opponent will also get a point regardless of the outcome. Which is that's an interesting rule. Now, in play is like in the stadium, or even just is in the stadium, but there's a catch, because if something gets, say, knocked up onto the side of the box like this, this can still return. So this is still in play up here. As long as it's spinning, it is still in play and up here. If it gets stuck down here, or, you know, below this edge or area, then, or like outside the stadium and not up here, that's out of play. Because it will probably not. If it returns, you continue. If you want, I guess. I'm still working on it. If it's knocked out of the box entirely, that is absolutely out of play. Unless it happens to, like, bounce off a wall or something and land back in the stadium. That'll be in play still. Again, this is subject to change, and obviously house rules are going to take priority. As I then spin that the wrong way and fling it across the room. Yeah. I'll have to reprint Prototype Turtle at some point for sure. Because I see one of these points is notably damaged. That one right there. But that's enough yapping. I think we should get into this. Let's see. What do we want to see first? Well, I haven't. We're gonna run turtle and dragon. Maybe we'll see the pin eject. Alright. This is kind of consistent with what I've been seeing. Always make sure to reset the pin after each round, because it does come loose. Right, so that is something to be aware of. Using this launcher for now because, like I said, the actual launcher for the system is still a work in progress. I will probably release this version of the prongs with the starting, I guess, wave 1 lineup, which will be prototype stuff, or the prototype series. I'm looking at using shapeways for that, although the metal parts will have to be through JLC, simply because it is less expensive. They should fit properly, now that I've made, or given a little extra room. But we'll find out, because I have to order more of the weights anyway. And another pin, metal pin. I do want to talk a little bit about these, I guess. We'll do it with battles. Oh! Alright, well we had an example of Prototype Turtle going out this outside of the box. Dragon was just ejected entirely. Ooh, both pins came a little loose. So it's definitely a turtle. Oh. Yeah, that wasn't going back in. Yeah, I think once it touches this bottom surface, I think that's game, is what it's gonna be. Not so much because, oh, nothing can really get back out, but I guess I think it'll just be a little more fair that way. So, this little bit of plastic, probably from Prototype Turtle. Come here. Into the discarded 3D printing filament box, or plastic. Why this launcher doesn't hold things as well. Alright. So both got knocked out there. I think what I'm going to call a ruling for that is whichever one lands the closest to the center of the stadium gets the point. No, never mind. Okay, I guess that can be like an optional, like, house rule. But I think, I don't know. whichever one is visibly seen in the stadium last. As I then called out to do something as I'm in the middle of this. Because why wouldn't I get interrupted? Intermission. Okay. That was a reasonable interruption. Ping. Okay. So, back. Also, remember to drink water. Hydrate. That's very important. Okay. Still haven't decided what point count it's going up to, but I suppose that would be something to decide. I'm thinking 5. I've also lost track of what the score is between these right now. So we'll count now. Remember to launch well. I forget to set that, and it just falls off the launcher anyway. You gotta remember that prototype turtle is actually cracked. It's my goat prototype turtle. Launch doesn't count, but I think it'll be similar to alright. That'll be 4. Ooh, prototype dragon gets a point. Right before I would have lost. Had it lost another point. Will it come back from this? Ooh. That was here, if I'm not mistaken, which means prototype dragon would have got that point. Just by a fraction of a second. Dragon at 2. It may make a comeback. The prototype dragon and prototype turtle especially are just so goated. Like these two. Ooh. Another point for prototype dragon. It may actually make a comeback. Waited. That's another one. Wow. I think it may have just evened the score. Alright. First battle where we're keeping track of points, and it's already this exciting. Wow. I think we're going at 3-4 as prototype. No? Yeah, it's 3-4. It is 3-4. Aw. Unfortunate. Prototype turtle pulls it, or just kinda pulls that last point. Indeed. So, now let's go prototype Phoenix and prototype Tiger. We haven't seen any pins come off yet. Tiger hits real hard. And that's one for Tiger. So it's 1-1. Ooh. Early hit. That was... Phoenix getting another point with that that attack, that sudden attack out of nowhere. And Tiger hitting back with an instant knockout. Calmer battle. Calmest one we've seen so far. And that is that is a 3rd point for Phoenix, if I'm not mistaken. That might be. My memory is iffy. So it's 3-2. Alright. But we get that. Ooh. Some big hits. And there it goes. Ooh, almost knocked the pin off. So that's 4-2. Phoenix leading. And it's that one last point it needed to get the win. Let's mess around with funny. Prototype Scorpion. These wings do actually provide notable downforce, and you can in person, you can actually hear it. Now, will Valkyrie be able to get Scorpion to scrape? Or will Scorpion just block all of its hits? Ooh, that's an interesting sound. It hasn't made that noise before. And looks like Scorpion got it. Blocking those hits like it's nothing. Ooh! Alright, we're not counting that one. That was too quick. Also, I want to note that Scorpion has notably more resistance when you launch it. And I'm not so... Also, that's the second point for a Scorpion. But I'm not... Or prototype Scorpion. But I'm not certain if it's just... Oh, it's really wide and you have to spin this, like, notable amount of weight all on the edge. Or if it's also, like, air resistance, because this is wings. Or these are, like, wings. It's built like a fan. On purpose. Ooh. Will we see Valkyrie? No, we will not see Valkyrie get a point. Prototype Scorpion's defense is just too good, it looks like. So it's 3-0. Humming sound on the stadium. Oh! There we go, Valkyrie getting a point finally. With a knockout, of all things. I also, Prototype Scorpion does break a system rule, but because it's, you know, a reference to Tripio, it gets a pass in that regard. But it is the only one that will get that pass. Probably. We might get one more exception like that. Alright. That's a 4-1. All of these battles have been pretty one-sided. Begin off the bat. Ooh. Yep, and there it is. 5-1. Alright. So it's the more passive designs that are getting wins at the moment. So let's see. Let's go Tiger and Valkyrie. I considered Dragon and Valkyrie, but it's like, eh. That one looked like a draw, actually. Both pins are loose. Alright. That's interesting. Ooh. Oh. Well, we can't count that. Getting a point. Leading, or taking the lead with a 1-0. Alright. Sometimes there's a launcher malfunction. Like that. Want to count that, but it shouldn't because it's too quick. So we're still at 1-0. Is there someone with Valkyrie right now? It's very wobbly. Doesn't seem like it's wiggling more than it should. That's now 1-1. gonna count that as a draw. Part of why I include the box in as being, or like these tabs on the box as being in play, is because it's more exciting that way. Because you can get crazy stuff, like something getting knocked out, almost flying off the box, coming back in, getting a last second KO. So we're at 1-1. Oh, hey, we have a pin ejection, which means both get a point. So now it's 2-2. That's our first pin ejection. And that does mean, see, it'll be first to 5, whoever, and have to lead by at least 1 point. So 2-2. Ooh. What that counts as, I don't know yet. Because I don't know. I think it'll be while it's still in play. The pin has to be ejected for it to count. We can lab that. So I'm gonna count that as just 1 point. Also, I'm sure you noticed that there is yellow paint under the pin, and that is to make it easier to tell that the pin has been ejected. This is something I intend to have continued with every design, or have a very contrasting color painted on top of the tip, so that you can tell that the pin has been knocked off a little more easily. So that's 3-2. Ooh. Prototype Tiger's not unscathed, though. Which is to be expected, but... Ooh. Alright. So it is now 3-3. This is a very even matchup. I may have to put a different pin on Valkyrie. This one seems to be coming loose really easily. Like, they shouldn't fall off, but they shouldn't be too tight either. So it's supposed to be easy to assemble and disassemble. Another point for Valkyrie. So slight malfunction. Alright. So that's 4-3. Valkyrie in the lead. You will get it. Ooh. Tying it up with a KO at 4-4. This is anyone's game. If I can launch. It's 4-4. Take 2. Alright. Well, I guess that I think is pretty safe to say that it's Tiger's win. No, that was instant. Never mind. That pin almost came off though. So we're still at 4-4 because that was too quick. Okay. Now it's 6-4. With a win or Tiger getting that point. Or both points for the KO and knocking the pin off. Look, both a little worse for wear. still operable, of course. Hopefully they'll be a little more durable. You know, I think it's time we get to the weighted stuff. With Spark Knight, Aquarii, and Scorpions, which has a metal pin and a spin ball tip. Spin ball has a free rotating ball, of course. Almost see it. It also has a metal pin and the heavy weight. Spark Knight has the hexa weight, and Aquarii has the star hexa weight, which is actually just barely heavier than hexa. This is heavier than I expected, so it'll be kind of just I don't know, I'm going to adjust the heavy weight, probably. So it's a little too heavy, I think. It's like, this is dense. Like, it feels dense. Like, too dense. So I think it'll either lose the metal pin, or it might lose the metal pin. And the heavy weight is definitely going to be made lighter. So I'm looking at this. I know this design in particular is super explosive. Like, it will legitimately just explode and go flying across the room. This has Star Flat, which is a star-shaped flat tip. Wow. And Aquarii just uses regular flat. And this is what this is really going to be testing, because I have not seen what these are like battling yet. I have held off on battling these with their weights, or with their metal parts. We'll bring in Prototype Scorpion. What do we want to battle it with? Spark Knight, our protagonist. Must be first to 5 fleet. Oh yeah. Ooh. It's the first time I've launched one of these too. That felt good. That felt really nice to launch. Wow. Absolutely bullied friggin' Prototype Scorpion too. We're gonna have to there's some lore between these two RAS tops, but that will be explained when we get to the story, or in the first few chapters of the story, so you don't get that lore yet. Okay, let's bring in a Cerberus. Now, I gotta decide which configuration I want for Cerberus, because the Cerberus gear has a gimmick, and these are actually not the default configuration of the Cerberus gear. So notice these blades are all different shapes. We have an upper attack blade, a spike attack blade that's coming from, you know, one of my favorite Beyblades ever, Burning Kerberos, which is the inspiration for these. Okay, that's... and we have the Smash Attack Blade. So the default default configuration for this gear is one of each. And they're each painted a different color based on their respective sticker on Burning Kerberos. The upper attack in green, spike in red, and smash in blue. Love this thing. So one of these will get Star Hexa instead of Hexa. I have yet to decide what these will actually use. They might not even get one of the weights I currently have printed out, or I currently have on hand. They might get a new one, like, I don't know, Penta, which I have yet to make. Or they might get Tri, or something, I don't know. You might even get Septa, Octa, Nana, or Deca. Who knows? Actually, I think it'll end up being Deca. Oh. Yeah. It'll probably end up getting, like... Yeah, well, I'll figure it out. Point is, I might bring one of these in. I think we're gonna go with the spike, or full spike configuration, which also has spin ball. So take that apart. I think we can demonstrate. I think I can show off the gimmick. Yeah, I think I'll show off the gimmick here. So, got this nice 316L stainless steel weight. Fancy. I don't remember which pin's which. So it's that one. Get another plastic hexa. So, I want to show how this works. So we have 3 blade segments, and they're all removable and look like this. But this blade and their color varies depending on which one it is. This one is also warped like crazy on this end, but it'll do. Okay, I was worried that didn't fit. I was like, what do you mean? Maybe it doesn't. Or maybe I just have a skill issue. It was just tighter there. Alright. This is a very experimental thing. You can hear that, kinda. Can you? Yeah, that's spin ball going. So, see how this moves. Ooh. Alright. Knocking that pin loose a little. Trading some paint. But it actually is fitting for Cerberus because it's actually supposed to have like hazard tape, like caution tape print on the blades. Which I think looks awesome in the renders. But I'm realizing I did end up okay. Spark Knight is likely going to get a redesign. This is a very aggressive shape. Compared to literally every other design so far. Okay. Okay, maybe not Aquarii. That one's a pretty aggressive shape. Dragon's a pretty aggressive shape too. Speaking of, let's just... where did I put the launcher? There it is. Let's quickly do... that's also 2 points for Cerberus. So it's not a complete washout if you're using a lighter. Okay, maybe it is. Yeah. All right. Well, let's bring in Valkyrie. So why not? As I remember, it has a loose pin. Okay. We already saw prototype Scorpion. I don't think I need to try any of the others, really. Okay, back to Spike Cerberus. And Spark Knight. So the default configuration for Cerberus is Tri-Cerberus. Where there's one upper, one spike, and one smash blade. But if you isolate, one type of blade to each of the each of 3 Cerberus gears, you get upper, smash, and spike Cerberus. It's a triple fusion gimmick, which I really like. That's 3 for Cerberus. That's a noise. Come on, Spark Knight, get it. Get him! Unfortunate. Right. So I do want to bring up a design rule for the system. First of all, nothing super wide. Prototype Scorpion gets a pass because it's a reference to Trivio. Second, no metal contact. No deliberate metal contact. And try to at least kinda cover weights. Those will make contact, and because they're still rough, they're going to act like a grinding wheel. Heavy won't be like an impact thing, probably, but it will be a sort of grinding thing, so I should sand that surface down a little. Star Hexa might be an impact thing. Hexa, maybe. Basically, just don't try to damage things. Get it? Come on. Spark Knight, get it? It needs... I think I'll go back and remake Spark Knight again. I do like the design. It's very cool. It just doesn't have the performance, unfortunately. interesting. I'll have to work on that. Or we'll get a Spark Knight 2. Okay, we will still get a Spark Knight 2 regardless, but I don't know. Ooh. Immediate impact. Cerberus just weaves through all of that. Oh, so this is the end of this battle for sure. Okay. So, that's Cerberus, or Spike Cerberus. Let's switch this out for... First of all, let's switch to Hexa on Cerberus, but let's also switch out to a different Cerberus. And we'll put it up against Aquarii. System. As long as you can get it to spin without, you know, as long as it's safe, it's good. Or you're good to go. This is kind of my thoughts at the moment. So, no rotary tools. That is asking to injure yourself or someone else. This thing's kind of a beast, actually. And do we go smash or upper for its opponent? I think we'll go smash. Nah. Upper. Upper Cerberus. Which means it'll be an upper attack battle. Yeah, that's what I've been doing most of the stream, actually. Alright. These feel really nice to launch. That is something I'm noticing. I just have to get the proper launcher to work. Okay, that's a little tight or tough to move though. I'll have to... I think this is difficult to turn simply because these weights had to be filed to fit. Upper Cerberus and Aquarii. Yeah, it's really fun. It's really fun to battle these. Upper Cerberus with Spin Cone. And we've got Aquarii on flat. Get it. Oh, it's going in for the kill right off the bat. Wow. Ooh, Cerberus doing this weird wobbling. See that? It's like wobbling all weird. That's... what the heck? That must be because of how the spin tips are made. Oh, it's stabilized. So this will be first to 5. Knocking the pin off is 1 point. Or just a recap for anyone just coming in. Xeno in particular. Just recap quick battles so far. Rules are looking like first to 5. Knockout is 1 point. Sleep out is 1 point. And knocking the pin off the opponent gives you a point but does not end the round. So it's 1 for Cerberus. Get it! There we go. There's a point for Aquarii. Get it! Ooh! That actually just went across the room. I have to go grab that. It's genuinely across the room. So that is 1 point to both. So it is now 2-1 with Aquarii in the lead. I'm gonna go grab that pin quick. Ugh. Okay. These battles are real fun. I like these. I like this system a lot. I gotta get this launcher worked out, though. I'm not sure if it just needs lubricated or better tolerances. Could be both. Probably both. But it's a work in progress. We got spin cone, which uses the spin tip base with a free rotating cone, of course. So 2-1, Aquarii in the lead. Get it. Go. Yeah. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, see it. Cerberus with getting 2 points with a pin ejection and a knockout. Bringing the score to 3-2, Cerberus in the lead. Ooh. 4-3. I don't want to assume, but I think Cerberus might have this. Could also be a slightly different pin model on Aquarii. Get it! Aww. Upper Cerberus taking that last point it needed to get the win. Unfortunate. Now, let's see if I can get this apart. Alright, there we go. Alright, so the resistance on these is because of lack of clearance. Got it. Which leaves the third and final Cerberus, Smash Cerberus, with spin flat. This flat is wider than the default flat, but it spins freely. More or less. And it will be up against Prototype Scorpion. Or not Prototype Scorpion. Scorpions. It's spelled an ES at the end. This is a heavyweight survivor. I have not battled it with its full proper parts yet. So this will be interesting to see. Assembly. This is tri-servers. Brawl. Oh, wait. I might be able to get this to work. There we go. Okay, it was just a little tough to get it over that first bit. Something to adjust. Or let something off to adjust a little bit. So, I am expecting Prototype Scorpion to get this win because this is that's gonna be rough. It's an uphill battle for sure. Let's see how Prototype Scorpion. See how Scorpions launches. We got Spin Ball. Super heavy, tanky build. Got Spin Flat going wild. So it wobbles too. Barely even phased by those attacks. Wow. And then, yeah, Prototype Scorpion, or not, I keep saying Prototype Scorpion. Scorpions was just not even phased by those attacks. Wow. Unbothered. That is 2-0 for Scorpions. I am definitely going to have to mess with this a bit. Oh! Cerberus finally taken a point on Scorpions with a knockout right there. It is now 2-1. Scorpions still heavily in the lead, with being notably heavier than its opponent. Can't give up, man. Come on. This metal pin is a prototype model, or design. Ooh. Anyway, the metal pin I had to have masking tape added so it'll not just fall off. Like, for real. I'll have to work on it a bit. That's another point for Scorpions. Just unbothered. The ultimate survivor. Jeez. It's irregular shape. That tail on Scorpions gives a nasty counter. At least that's the idea. And these claws are a little dangerous. This tail's a real nasty contact point. In theory. That is a say 3-1 just because I like battling these. I'm not a fan of how heavy Scorpions is, though. Like, I know its weight is called heavy, but it's a little excessive. Especially with that metal pin. That's definitely another point. I don't know that anything will be able to compete with Scorpions in its current form. So I think I'm gonna have to do something about this. So it has spin. The idea for Scorpions is to be the ultimate survivor, capable of, handling everything under just about any conditions. So it has spin ball. So the idea for it is that it's often wielded outdoors without a stadium in the first place. Going wild again. Also, the idea for these Cerberus combos is to have them all in a different area of the stadium. Cone is supposed to be in the center, ball is supposed to kind of be around here, around it, and then flat is up at the edge of the stadium. And that's another point for Scorpions, unsurprisingly. Meaning it gets an almost clean sweep. We have not had a clean sweep yet. Alright, so I'll have to tweak something about... I'll have to tweak some models for Cerberus a little bit. It looks like... it's supposed to be something like this. Kinda going around. So it's sort of like a wall of, unavoidable. And these are supposed to be wielded by a set of triplets. One right-handed, one left-handed, and one ambidextrous. Cerberus in its upper spike and smash configurations. I don't really have any other parts to work with right now, so I guess we can put the weights against each other for sure. Alright, so let's go. What are we doing first? What are we doing together first? That might break something. Let's go Spark Knight and Scorpions. Oh yeah. Does not care. Which means I need to do something about this. Yeah, this is a case where it's just a lot of weight equating to performance. So going to be for. And another trip across my room. Yeah, it does not care. Alright, I'm gonna go find that pin. Okay, pin retrieved. So that is 4 points. That was almost even a disassembly. I feel like full disassembly would be like, I don't know. So there's the pin ejection. I think that might even make full disassembly as like a 2 points, but then there's the pin ejection for an additional point, making it 3. I don't know. That's 4-0. But it refused. Spark Knight refusing to leave the stadium. Unfortunately, it's all for naught. As that was our first clean sweep, 5-0. So next up is Scorpions versus Aquarii. Anticipating another sweep. Unless Aquarii is goated enough. Ooh, pin flies off. And it's done, unfortunately. Brutal. Maybe I should make this absolutely brutal. I'm gonna switch out to a different pin because this one seems to... Yeah, I'm gonna grab this other pin that I have ready. It's been sanded smooth. Yeah, that one should do better. Which means I think the one I was using had a tapered little tabs. I think it was causing it to get pushed off when it hit things. Come on. Yeah, it's like hits something. Ooh. Another 2-point win. You know, this one definitely doesn't have tapered sides, so that one actually is just a straight up regular pin ejection from sheer force. Scorpions is just cooking everything now. Wow. Oh! We got a point, but Unfortunately, that pin ejection does mean that Scorpion's got a 5th and final point. But not without getting a point taken on it. Now I gotta find that one. And of course it went in the direction where there's a bunch of stuff. Oh, that's right. I mean, I've got a spare pin on hand. Just gotta clean it up, but like, I'd like to not lose them. Well, I'll find it later. That is what I want to see more of. I got a couple of spares. I guess I did clean it up already. Alright. We've got a couple spares. So I expected that to happen. Oh, and then drop my pen knife. These are very fun battles. When it's not a 50, when it's, you know, more fair, at least. So I think Scorpions, as it in its current form, is Raid Boss. That just obliterates everything. Do something about this. So that's too powerful. But our only battle left that'll do something interesting, I guess, is gonna be Spark Knight and Aquarii. Aquarii has more stamina. Probably. But flew out of the stadium on its own, of its own accord. Immediate pin. So that's 2 points for Spark Knight. Just launched that pin into the air. Highest rotation speed. Okay. Why are you ejecting your own pin? And before it even started, too. Alright, what's going on? That just flew off on its own. I mean, I see where it landed. Never mind. This is a smooth. Okay, I see what's going on. That was another mold that's not good. Alright. I think now we're cooking with gas. That one felt real tight. Okay. Restarting. 0-0. Now we got the right pin in here, and not one of the, you know, ones that not great. So that is something I'll have to keep in mind. 1-0. Spark Knight leading. If Aquarii will remain in the stadium. Stop that. Spark Knight, easier to control. Spark Knight might be okay. Look at that wicked ramp, though. Just absolutely nutty upper attacker. Stay in the stadium. Will we see it in action, though? Now it's 2-1. Feels a little dirty. So we're not gonna count it. 2-1. Also, there are no types in this system. Closest you get is describing what it does. So it's now 2-2. Let's go. Spark Knight in the lead. 3-3. Not 3-2. That's too immediate. So flat accelerates quickly. That was instant. Still at 3-2. Spark Knight still in the lead with 3-2. 4-2. Does Aquarii have the fortitude? If I can not launch on top of it, that'd be great. Do they have the fortitude to win? Let's go! Aquarii dodging. Aquarii did in fact have the fortitude. It is now 4-3. Got all this paint on here for the Spark Knight's blades. that is the first 4-2 we've had, I think. Ooh. It's now 4-4. Who will get the last point and take the win? Looks like it's Spark Knight getting its getting a win. It's 5-4. All right. I'll work on Scorpions because this thing is too heavy. I think we're gonna do something about it's heavy. Wait, and make it a little bit lighter. Yeah, I think dropping the metal pin on Scorpions is gonna be the way. All that tape I mentioned on there, so it'll stay. Let's give Spark Knight the metal pin. It cannot accept the metal pin. Yeah. Alright. Well, I guess I got it on, but I don't like it. Oh, yeah. Alright. Yeah. Okay. That might be... I think for now, that's gonna be it for RAS Demo. This is also a good way for me to test things and see what needs changed. Such as Scorpions being way too neg heavy. And seeing that the pin design that I've been using is the way to go. Alright. I think that's gonna be it for this. Let's say trim this tape a little more. Because there's nobody in the chat. Ask. And leave questions in the comments. I'll answer a few. No, you do not get the files. Probably will not get the files. I guess nothing complete. Okay, you won't get the files of anything that's its own, like, completed design. Like, there are... The exception may be the prototype stuff. But it's a matter of, you know... Yeah, I might make an exception for prototype stuff so people can just mess around with this. The launcher... we'll work on. For now, it's DB launcher with RAS prongs made for it. Some system rules are a radius limit because this is dimensions, it's fine. No, it's not, that's... Alright. I think we got the metal pin to fit right. So. Yeah. We got our... that is our first demonstration of RAS. The Rapid Assembly System. I will definitely be working on these for a while. And it'll... when they're ready, I'll release stuff. I'll give updates, basically. You'll know when they're ready. For now, I think that's gonna be it.